one above all. The one above all sits at the top of Marvel's ladder. It's described as the paramount creative force, the source of everything that was, is, and will be. Far beyond ordinary cosmic beings, this entity stands above its creations, carrying the ultimate authority across the multiverse. That authority isn't just raw strength, it's also a kind of authorship. The one above all is often read as the manifestation of the writer, a presence in the house of ideas where stories are born. In comics, it's shown as omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, transcending cosmic powers and abstract entities, even the living tribunal. Still, the one above all isn't a one-note god of arbitrary destruction. Its role is framed as creator and lover, building and shaping realities using love as its primary instrument. There's a dual side as well, sometimes called the one Bellawall, a counterweight that can break down or destroy as part of a cycle. Destroy, then rebuild. That duality sets a limit. The one above all often can't act like a typical force of harm because of its essential nature as the ultimate good. The character shows up rarely but memorably praising heroes or nudging them toward hope. Even supreme power in Marvel is ridden with constraints, and those constraints make the one above all less a distant ruler and more a complex story-driving presence. The Beyonder burst into Marvel as a nearly limitless force from beyond the multiverse. Origin stories put him in the Beyond Realm, a place outside ordinary reality, and say his existence began after a lab incident released energy that gave him sentience. In his first big appearance, he built Battleworld, a planet patched together from pieces of many worlds, then dragged heroes and villains there to fight. That first Secret Wars event let the Beyonder watch the clash between good and evil like an experiment. Early on, he seemed almost omnipotent. Reality warping, matter control, energy projection, and sweeping feats that changed whole timelines. But later stories complicated that simplicity. He faced opponents who exposed limits in his power. The Molecule Man absorbed and redirected his energy. Dr. Doom once stole the Beyonder's abilities, if only temporarily. The Living Tribunal also stepped in, constraining what the Beyonder could do. Even later retcons reshaped him. The Beyonder was retconned into being a child unit of a larger race called the Beyonders, which toned down his raw omnipotence. Across Tales, he moves between godlike threat and vulnerable, newly defined being. The Beyonder's arc reads like a lesson. Extraordinary power invites unexpected weaknesses and complicated consequences. Molecule Man Owen Reese started as a plain lab technician and became one of the strangest pivot points in Marvel's cosmos. A particle generator accident exposed him to a strange radiation that rewired him at a molecular level, giving him the power to control matter and energy down to individual molecules. His early days showed limits and self-doubt. For a while, he couldn't affect organic molecules because of mental blocks. Over time, he pushed past those barriers and learned to shape reality with terrifying precision. At first, he used a steel rod to focus his gifts, but eventually, he could direct them without tools. Beyond personal growth, Owen's importance comes from his link to larger forces. The radiation that transformed him came from the Beyonders dimension, and the Beyonders themselves treated him like a multiversal bar, demolition tool. That connection made him central to huge events, secret wars, incursions, and crises where the very fabric of reality was at stake. He fought heroes and villains, sometimes on Battleworld alongside Doom, and sometimes against the Fantastic Four or the Avengers. In the end, his story turns tragic and heroic. He sacrificed himself in a way, transferring his consciousness into a single molecule to survive and help remake the multiverse. Owen Reese is human, broken, frightening, and, in his final act, crucial to saving everything he once threatened. Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards grew up in the shadow of two brilliant parents, Red and Sue Richards of the Fantastic Four, and he showed power from the start. Born with altered genes, Franklin's abilities appeared early and often seemed unpredictable. As a child, his reality-warping powers were dangerous and unstable. His parents and guardians worked hard to understand and control what he could do. Over the years, he received care and guidance from different protectors, witches, robotic caretakers, and fellow heroes while facing enemies who wanted to exploit him. Despite his youth, Franklin demonstrated courage. He befriended other young heroes and formed bonds that mattered. The comic landscape also shows versions of Franklin from the future where his potential becomes frighteningly clear. Some adult Franklins reshape entire universes and even destroy cosmic beings. In one future, a grown Franklin destroyed two Celestials, a sign of how powerful he could be. At times, he lost his powers and tried to live quietly, only only to have them return later. In some storylines, he only uses them once a year to explore threats across reality. What makes Franklin so compelling is the moral weight of being a child with godlike abilities. The choices he faces reveal how responsibly power should be used and how fragile a soul can be under such a burden. The Living Tribunal. The Living Tribunal is Marvel's judge of realities, the being tasked with keeping the multiverse in balance. It stands as an almost robotic force of cosmic law, stepping in when any one universe or power threatens to upset the larger equilibrium. The Tribunal's appearance reflects its function. 4 faces, each representing a different aspect of judgment and cosmic necessity. It has stopped universe-level threats, blocked the combined use of powerful artifacts, and dispatched representatives, called the Magistrati, to deliver verdicts across alien worlds. The Tribunal doesn't operate like a personal god. Instead, it enforces rules that preserve diversity and stability between realities. That's why it often acts as the on-the-ground mechanism for higher authority. In several stories, it's presented as the one above all's practical delegate, the hand that carries out cosmic law. Though omnipotent, the Tribunal has faced challenges. There were times the Beyonders or other cosmic upheavals pushed beyond its control, and alternate beings stood in to fill or replace the Tribunal's role. Still, its presence keeps comic-scale threats legible. When the Tribunal moves, the reader understands the stakes are beyond a single planet or hero. It represents the idea that even in a world of limitless power, rules and balance matter. Hyperion is a character with many faces across Marvel universes, each version reshaping what he stands for. He first appears tied to cosmic games in teams like the Squadron Sinister, then emerges in alternate realities as a founding member of the heroic Squadron Supreme. Across these versions, he shares core traits: immense strength, flight, durability, and the ability to fire powerful beams from his eyes, often called atomic vision. Hyperion can be a protector of his reality, but he can also turn extreme in the name of order. Some portrayals show him raised or manipulated by government handlers, trained to be a weapon, or forced into covert roles before rebelling. He's fought monstrous threats and joined forces with heroes to stop global catastrophes, but his methods sometimes cross lines, causing conflict with other heroes. One of the darker moments shows a Hyperion so ruthless he cleaves an enemy with his atomic vision. Various versions struggle with weaknesses. Exposure to argonite radiation drains his powers, and each Hyperion reflects a different answer to what it means to have godlike might in a fragile world. His multiple incarnations let writers ask whether absolute power produces a guardian or a tyrant. Sentry Bob Reynolds. The Sentry, Robert Reynolds, is a character built on contrast, immense power, and fragile mind. His abilities are world-shaking. Reports in the comics link him to feats like lifting massive structures, holding off celestial-level threats, and fighting the Hulk to a standstill. His strength, speed, and near invulnerability make him one of the most physically powerful beings on Earth. Yet his power has a cost. Reynolds struggles with a darker alternate persona called the Void, a destructive force that can overpower heroes and cause catastrophe. That inner demon makes the Sentry unpredictable and dangerous, even when he's meant to protect. Some stories hint that his powers come from a cosmic or divine source, and that his molecules exist ahead of the current timeline, allowing him to be present across moments. He's been temporarily stripped of abilities by cunning foes like Doctor Doom, and his mental state means victory in a fight is never guaranteed. In key battles, he has stopped world-level threats. In one arc, he helps prevent Exeter from crushing the Earth with Rogue's help, but other clashes end in stalemate or disaster. The Sentry embodies the idea that overwhelming strength without inner balance can be as threatening as any villain. Scarlet Witch. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, combines tragic life story with cosmic-scale power. From a Romani line known for magical gifts, Wanda's early life included loss and experimentation. She and her twin brother were taken and altered, and later stories revealed family ties that complicated her Takantai identity. Her abilities blend magic and reality manipulation, and over time she grew into a sorceress who could tap into chaotic and primal energies. Wanda fell in love with the android Vision and built an unusual family. She created 2 children who became powerful story beats when those children were revealed to be magical constructs, their souls tied to darker forces and later absorbed away. Her powers have been amplified and twisted by outside influences, demon lords, and manipulative figures who exploited her grief and confusion. She's also been called a Nexus being, someone whose existence anchors timelines and affects reality around her. That status made her central to massive events like Avengers Disassembled and House of M, where her actions reshaped whole realities. Retcons later adjusted the scale and explanation of her deeds, but the emotional core remains. Wanda's power is devastating when driven by heartbreak. Her story asks painful questions about agency, responsibility, humanity and whether love can justify world-changing acts.